I think frequently in college football now, a two tight end set is really just a fancy one tight end set. I don't know how many teams are truly using 2 and 3 tight ends to be in those types of formations where, traditional 12 and 13 personnel formations. But, Ann Arbor certainly does, and Utah does as well. So, there are some similarities. But enough differences where you got to make sure you practice all that stuff, and again give the guys a chance to go line up against those formations.
And then, given how that game went, is there a benefit to playing a team with similar styles? So you can, you've seen it, but then also this is an opportunity to, I guess, reprove yourself.
Yeah, kind of what we were speaking on earlier. Just a chance to kind of hopefully get that bad taste out of our mouth about. Can we be a physical defense? And we certainly know we can, and makes for great practice. That's what I can tell you. Now, who knows how the game goes? They're an exceptional team, like you said. We'll have an unbelievable challenge, but really proud of how our guys have practiced.
Has that been an ongoing message about toughness or physicality?
Yes, yeah, it has. Got to play tough every week, but certainly this week and in this game. Just an opportunity to kind of rebite on that stuff. So,
Matt, have you had a chance to talk to Coach Knowles about the possibility of working together and how you guys can work together?
We had a very brief meeting. I could tell right away he's an exceptionally talented and intelligent person. Seems like a great guy. The nature of our conversation did not go that long. He had a bunch of meetings, and I'm, running to try to get practice organized and things like that. So have not really had those conversations.
In person?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, how much would you like to work, based on what you see from the way he runs the defense? How much would you like to work with that team?
Yeah, Bill. You know me, man. I'm a film junkie and an X's and O's guy, and I'm at Ohio State because I've been fortunate enough to be around some great coaches that I stole everything from. I've yet to have almost 15 years in coaching. I don't think I've had an original idea. So I don't have enough ego to say, well, this is mine. I don't. I mean, I steal from everybody that I think does a good job, and he's done an exceptional job. I love Ryan Day. I love Ohio State. I love Columbus, Ohio. I love our players. So I'd certainly love an opportunity to remain here. Yeah.
It's been an interesting year for you, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Could you kind of assess what it's been like and the self-assessment of the job you did?
It's been particularly early on. It was a tumultuous year. It was the way the season played out early on, and I've said this before. When we weren't playing great defense, I was right at the top of that. I was in every meeting, and believe me, a lot of the decisions we made were things that I suggested. And when we weren't playing well, and Coach Day decided to make a change, and I think at times we played better defense. I'd love to sit here and tell you that was something I did. It wasn't. It was what we did as a staff. Kind of banded together and moved egos aside and just try to give our kids the best chance we could. I think a lot of it, honestly, is just we had young players, and as young players continued to play, they got better. So I don't know how much of that was schematic and whatever else, as much as it was just getting organized and getting those guys more experience. So
every season is a marathon of a sprint. You go as hard as you can, as long as you can.
Yeah.
Does it feel like even more so this year because of the change, because of the tumultuousness?
No shortage of grays here on the side, Bill. So, it was. It can always be that way, and particularly, Ohio State's a great place because it's you're at the top of the food chain, and all our eyes are on you, and that's why it's so great. But it certainly adds to the, let's go with stress, I suppose. But that's what makes it fun. That's what we're here for.
And you've got still a 1-year-old, right? Your son's still 1?
One. It'll be 2 in February. Yeah.
How much, just for stability's sake, would you love to stay here and just keep going?
It's a wonderful place. I've enjoyed every moment that I've been here. I can't imagine there are many head coaches to work for better than Ryan Day, and Columbus, Ohio is an awesome place. So it's a great place, and my wife and I love it here. Henry loves it here. So that's what I can tell you.
Matt, how do you feel like you've grown personally from this year of being the defensive play caller?
Yeah, I think you learn from making mistakes. I certainly made plenty of mistakes. So, hopefully I'm smart enough to learn from the things we did wrong and try to avoid those mistakes moving forward.
Does it make you a better, position coach when you have this experience of being a coordinator of calling the plays?
I think you definitely get an appreciation of what it's like to sit in a different chair. And when you're a position coach, you think you're focused on what your position is, and you say, well, if we do that, that's another thing I've got to install. It's another thing I got to coach and make sure. You move over a chair and you say, well, we need this defense to be able to go win this game. So you certainly have a greater appreciation for how the whole defense fits together.
Bowl practice is usually a time where some younger players, newer players emerge. Anybody you're seeing do that here in the last couple weeks?
It'd be hard for me to single one guy out. The guy, if I want to pick a guy, he's a younger player. He's played for us. The guy that sticks out to me, it's had an exceptional bowl practice, is Court Williams. And he's played very well for us at times in games. He was this close to being the defensive player of the game against Michigan State. So it's not like he hasn't played. He's one guy that sticks out to me.
Talked to him a couple weeks ago, and you could tell that there was sort of a palpable vibe from him. Like, I think he knows why he didn't get to play more, especially because he was coming in slow. But is that sort of like hunger, I guess, to get on the field, showing up in practice?
It could be. What I would tell you about Court Williams is he's the most motivated, hardest working player that I've ever been around, ever. So, I don't know how much you got to light a fire under him. He's lit. He's extremely motivated, and he is a joy to coach, an absolute joy to coach. So.
Does it give you some options for next year to how you assemble things? I know that'll be Jim's decision at the end of the day, but getting him and Ronnie on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would say. Anyone in charge of an offense or a defense or any organization, you're always trying to get, your best people involved, and certainly those two guys are right at the top of that conversation.
Cam Martinez was a guy who sort of middle of the season flashed a little bit and was making the plays, and then didn't have that big of a role beyond that. Where do you guys still need to see, I guess, him take the next step to earn a bigger role?
Yeah, he played, kind of when we made some schematic changes to the defense that made a major change for how, kind of what his best fit was. So, he's an awesome young man. Great attitude, works exceptionally hard. An exceptional person. So he handled it really well, but it was a major change. So we kind of moved him from that nickel position, or what we've called the cover safety position, back into that free safety role. And you got to understand. That's something that generally happens in spring ball. So for him to do that in the middle of the season, it's unbelievable. He kind of was in a rotational role in the Michigan State game there with Bryson Shaw, and Bryson Shaw's played outstanding this year. Certainly played what I think was a very good game again in the last one. But Cam gives us an opportunity there to rotate. This is kind of what we did in the Michigan State game. He had a little bit of a setback going into the last game, so he wasn't able to play. But he's healthy now, and expecting big things from him in this game.
Is he going to be a free safety from now on, you think?
Hard to say. Again, I think in any organization, it's about getting your best people involved, and he certainly has a chance to be one of the best. So whatever position that is, it's hard to predict the future at this point.
Matt, where do you guys envision missing? How do you guys think you'll miss Haskell in this game?
Haskell's a great player. He brings energy to our defensive front, and he's been very disruptive for us over the years, certainly this year as well. He'll be missed. But I've said this before. I think Larry Johnson's the best defensive line coach in the history of college football, and he'll do a great job getting the next guy ready to go in the game.
The fact that Haskell's been out of the lineup at times with injuries this year, does that help at all? The fact that you guys have experience for guys going in for him throughout this year?
Yeah, and again, Larry does. If you go back and look, we've played a whole bunch of guys throughout the year, and so we've got guys that are ready to go play in the game, and particularly with 15 bowl practices, you feel like you're able to get those guys enough practice reps to get them ready. So it'll be good.
What stands out to you when you watch this Utah running game, specifically Tavion Thomas? What kind of challenges are they going to present to you guys?
Yeah, it's a downhill scheme. It's a little bit of zone scheme, a little bit of gap scheme, a little bit of quarterback run, multiple formations, shifts, and motions. And if you're not gapped out, if everybody's not doing their job, you got real problems. And even if you are gapped out, they're so big and physical up front, and then they got a horse of a tailback that runs the ball downhill, and again, some change of pace guys that even if you are in your gaps, it's they'll knock you back for 4 or 5, 6, and then all of a sudden they slip through a tackle, and ball's on your free safety right now to get it down. So it's a great challenge. They are an exceptionally well-coached football team, very, very talented. And very physical.
Does that make tackling and fundamentals a big point of emphasis for this game?
Absolutely. I think when you have 15 practices, you kind of approach it, at least the front half of it, as a development for your team, which some of you guys have alluded to. Just the chance to kind of get your young guys going a little bit and maybe get them some more reps. But the front end of the 15 practices are heavily technique and technique emphasis, and we'll need those things to carry into the game.
Have you faced a running back at all similar to Tavion Thomas at all, or is his size kind of unique?
No shortage of big backs in the Big Ten. It'd be hard for me to point one to single one out for you, but there's some a lot of bigger guys that run hard. We see a guy that runs several guys that run exceptionally hard in practice every day. Now we don't tackle that guy to the ground necessarily, but we are no stranger to big physical running backs, and again, he'll be. As I said, he'll be geeked up for this one. He's an Ohio kid, and he's an outstanding player. So, be a great challenge.
Matt, it feels like 10 years ago that Josh Proctor was getting hurt there week 2. When you think back on that, the progress he made, the expectations you guys had for this year, how significant did that wind up being?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is a game-changing type of a player, so certainly hurt us. Not only is he a great player, but he's a guy that, he's loved. His teammates love him, and he brings another level of energy, another level of competitiveness. So, we missed, as much as we missed his production on the field, I think, maybe more so we just missed his energy off the field.
Do you guys have an idea yet when you might be able to get back to full go? Could you go through spring, or is it still too early to know?
All I can tell you right now is he's ahead of schedule. From my understanding, he's progressing very well. It's hard for me to say when he'll be back. I'm sure that, it's something that we would anticipate easing him into. I don't think we want to just jump him back in there right away. But, I think the important thing is he's ready to go for next season. So.
Matt, I think one of the underrated parts about bowl games is the extra month you get with these guys. Have you seen development, significant advancement from your guys?
I think so. Particularly our young guys that, some guys have been down with scout teams, for the majority of practices throughout the season. So it's an opportunity for those guys to come back and play the defense and execute the scheme and compete at a high level. So I think, particularly early on, it's given our younger guys in particular an opportunity to kind of grow. Yeah.
I know a lot of your guys have said today they've been working on being more physical. Have you sensed that? Do you feel like that's a challenge in this game?
It's definitely a challenge. Yeah, definitely a challenge. I think our guys understand that, and Coach Day, from Coach Day down, I think as a staff, it's been something we've tried to disseminate, and our players certainly understand. Great challenge for sure, but we've got very competitive players who take a lot of pride in their performance, and we've tried to make sure that that's what we see at practice every day.
From a preparation standpoint, you guys see Big Ten teams all the time, a lot of similar opponents. Is it more difficult? What's it like having a month to prep for a team that you really never see?
Yeah, the extra time, fortunately it helps. But if you play a team, throughout the years and 3 and 4 years of playing a team, you kind of get a book on them. So obviously, we don't have a book on these guys, and so the extra time has been good, but we realize they have extra time also. So I'm sure we'll see some wrinkles that maybe we haven't seen, and we'll have to do a good job of adjusting in game and again giving our guys a chance to be successful.
Matt, mentioned how the Rose Bowl is a chance for younger guys to really step up and get some more experience. And when we were talking with Ryan a few weeks back, he mentioned how he had a home run last recruiting class with Jordan Hancock and J.K. Johnson. With Jordan in specific, just what do you like about his game that made Ryan just praise him as high as he did?
He's extremely competitive. He covers very, very well. And he's an energy giver. He loves to play. He loves to practice. He loves to compete. We guard the best receivers in the country every single day, and he covers them by and large. So just like his approach to the game, and then have certainly seen some development from him here in the last 8 or 9 practices, whatever it's been at this point. So.
And then on the flip side, just with J.K., what do you like about his game that kind of stands out and maybe will allow him to get some more playing time in the coming seasons?
Similar to Jordan, honestly. Covers really well, loves to play, loves to practice, loves to compete, wants to be great. Both of them work really hard at it. You go look every day after practice, the last 2 guys on the field are probably those 2. So they love the game, and hopefully looking forward to being able to get those guys involved.
Just staying in that secondary room, we talked with Cam Brown earlier just a few minutes ago, and he mentioned how he talks with Jeff Okudah. He leans on him for just some advice. Did you know he had such a relationship with Jeff?
Yeah, I know that those guys are close, and Jeff is an exceptional player, but he's also an outstanding person. And hey, listen, the brotherhood here at Ohio State is real. So when these guys leave, they stay in close contact, and all the guys that go on to major NFL success, they're still watching our games and talking to our guys and all that type of thing. So.
I mean, just for a guy like Cam recovering from an injury like that, is he like a sponge when he's learning about the game? I mean, you mentioned how getting back on the field is where he improved most just this season.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he works really hard at it, and he's a bright guy, and any player gets better with experience. There's no substitute. There's no film or practice rep that truly simulates what it's like to go out there and play in the game. In front of a full crowd, and when it's moving fast and it's something you didn't practice, and everything's on the line. So just being in an expanded role this year, I know has helped his development greatly.
No, Matt, I know the playoff maybe has changed things a little bit for the younger guys, but for us, we think of this as the bowl game. What kind of vibe or feeling do you get when you think Rose Bowl?
Yeah, I grew up watching the Rose Bowl game religiously, and just kind of being enamored with the pageantry of college football, but certainly I think that's embodied in the Rose Bowl game. I believe it's the longest standing bowl game, and so much tradition here, and from what I gather, it's just a beautiful setting. I've never been in that stadium, never been to this game, but seeing it on TV and listening to some firsthand accounts, it's a special deal. So something I'm, as a lifelong college football fan, something I'm very much looking forward to.
Is there any concern that the game could be canceled due to COVID?
Yes. I mean, I haven't heard anything to that effect, but I just say personally, I have concern. For no other reason than I see games around the country being canceled. I have no information that suggests that our game is under threat or anything like that, but I just see how hard our guys work, and I know that they deserve a chance to go play in this game, and again, just looking at kind of the climate around the country and seeing other games canceled, it's certainly concerning.
What measures is the team taking to ensure there isn't an outbreak or to keep the game going?
Yeah, masks everywhere, distancing as much as possible. We're just trying to be smart about what positions we put our players in, and where in the past I know there's been maybe some more events with both teams in tighter quarters. I think you just got to be smart about how you do those things. So just taking the advice of what we've all been told here over the last however long it's been, 2 years, I guess, almost 2 years now, and So just trying to take every precaution that we can.
Is there a sort of mental roadblock knowing that maybe this game could be canceled at practice and make it a little harder to maybe plan for the week?
No, I don't. I certainly don't feel that way, and I don't think our players feel that way. We really haven't gotten any information suggesting anything is under threat or anything like that. So our guys are focused on the game, focused on every day at practice, and that's really been where our mindset. So yeah, thank you.
What's the most gratifying thing about this whole season for you? And it's finishing so different than the way it started for you personally. What is the most gratifying thing for you personally this year?
The most gratifying thing for me personally.
We have 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining on Ohio State's media session.
I love to see the development of our players. You particularly the young guys. You recruit them for a year or 2 years, and you get them in and you develop them, and you see what a process it is for them, so seeing some of our young guys develop and really start to play some of their best football and that type of thing, that's been very rewarding. That's certainly something that sticks out, and then again for me, just growing up a big fan of college football and a big fan of the Rose Bowl and everything that goes with it. Having a chance to be here and just be a very small part of everything that's going on is a really cool experience, and I'm thankful that even in a day and age where COVID is everywhere, that I'm able to do it with my wife Christina and my soon-to-be 2-year-old Henry. So
that's really cool.
Thank you.
We talked about how this is such a relationship business on the coaching side. What do you most appreciate about the staff that you guys have right now and the way that you guys work together?
Yeah, I'm thankful for everything I've learned. I've learned so much from these guys over the last couple of years, and I think we got a room full of all-stars, and so I made the comment earlier. I'm at Ohio State because I stole from 50 coaches that I had a chance to work for, and don't know that I've had an original thought in football. And again, I steal from our guys every day. Our staff, they're just, they're really, really good. And I'm proud of the way that, even though, we had some ups and downs throughout the season, just the way that, I feel like we conducted ourselves in a way that, everyone can be proud of and tell their families about. And, so just who we're as people, through adversity this year, I'm very proud of those guys. So,
thank you.
Yep, thank you.